everybody. Welcome to What Drives Us, episode 443 for March 2nd, 2022. My name is Russell Frost, and I am the host of this car wreck of a show, and it's almost always my fault. So I'm going to own that right at the beginning, and later on when I do faceplant, you'll be like, oh, yeah, he's just being him. Let me introduce this amazing panel, this large panel, and we will get this show on the road. Well, I'm just going to go at random. My friend in Boulder, Colorado, he owns Boulder Hybrids, where you need to go to get a Boulder or a hybrid or an EV. Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, glad to be here, and have no cars for sale right now, so don't come here right now, but when the market's better. We can fix your car, though.
There you go.
There we go. And no better time to be fixing your car than getting rid of it, because you don't want to be buying a car.
Right.
Jason
Yeah.
Mulder.
If you can't buy a new one, you got to get it fixed.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Then let's see. In the other corner of, in the upper left corner of America, our friend Patrick Connor.
Hello, everyone out there. It should be a good show. Welcome.
Patrick's much more optimistic than I am. Thank God. Thank you, Patrick. Above him on my screen is the founder of the Waterloo Region Electric Vehicle Association and the host of the Tesla Life, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. And a special hello to Jason in the chat as I break the third screen. Or what do they call that? When you
Fourth wall.
Fourth wall. There you go.
Third screen, fourth wall. You know.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same
yeah.
thing.
There's no walls here. There's screens.
No, wait. It's Jason Holder?
That's what I said.
Nice.
Oh, my God. Holy shit. Well, Jason, so nice to see you. You have to get in touch with me, man. I that's amazing. That's amazing. Does anybody
Long-time
not...
listeners will know that he was on the show once upon a blue moon. I think before it was even video. It might have just been an audio podcast.
It was just audio in those days. Yes, indeed he was. Back in the days when we were doing 3 shows a week, and it was horrifying. Nobody
I met him at Hybrid Fest.
and yeah, absolutely. He was a regular at Hybrid Fest. Well, Jason, so nice to see you, and so nice to see JT24 in the chat as well. Let me continue with the introduction so we can go on. Our friend of the Mid-Atlantic region, Mr. Supercharger, Kacey Green.
So I was teasing Mark that his obstruction convoy couldn't make it here because the Russian money dried up.
No, they ran out of gas.
Oh,
They spent all their money in Vegas at strip clubs. Let's get real. And last and certainly not least, my friend in Northern California, Georgia McKenzie.
Did we really get to everybody? No, I guess we did. Okay.
I saved you for last.
Of course you did.
That hurts. I never had. Oh my God! This is going to be that like network thing where I just blow my hat off at the end of the show. I can't take it anymore.
No, if it's like scanners, that's a lot more fun for us.
that's bad for the YouTube ratings that get us kicked off the air.
Are you kidding? The YouTube ratings would be through the roof.
I actually, you know what? Let me I don't have life insurance yet, so that's not going to happen.
No.
Well, you don't want evidence either.
When the life insurance kicks in. Yeah, that's true. I guess who knows? Anyway, let's go on to our news stories rather than chatting about nothing. We're going to start with a company that's been in the news for a few reasons this week. Kacey, what the heck is going on at Rivian?
Nothing anybody wanted to hear, that's for sure. So, in order to... The way that the company framed it was that they were trying to make the cars affordable, but what happened was Rivian, in the last couple of days, has raised the prices of their vehicle lineup by 20%. And Techno King decided to comment in on it, which I didn't realize that was in the article I picked. But Techno King really has no leg to stand on here because he did the same thing to the Roadster owners, and he tried to do it to the Plaid Plus owners, and I have a feeling he's actually going to do it to us with the Cybertruck, but I'm hoping that because he's opened his big mouth, that he has to honor our prices for the Cybertruck. But A friend of mine was online for the Rivian R1T. He'd originally reserved an R1S, but the way things were working with his family, he didn't need the SUV anymore. So I asked him what happened to his, because some people, like maybe 10 people, got missed in the price hike. His truck went from 75 with all the options he wanted to $89,000. He said that the only plus to this was he's already expecting 85. So what he did to get back to 85 was he removed the underbody armor, and instead of having whatever color interior he picked, he went to just the plain free, like I think it was black interior. And so now he's at 85. But 85 and 75 is still significant, and 75 and 89 is just, I don't normally speak like that, so I won't. But it's not acceptable. And what a lot of the owners were suggesting was that perhaps you could have done this, either staged it based on when you reserved, just that's how much your price would be, or do the right thing and just say, hey, all new orders from here on out, the price is the price, but hey, you guys signed an agreement, this is what you're going to pay. So what we've seen today is a lot of Rivian reservation owners have canceled their orders. Some people, like my friend, are now enjoying that they've been moved up in the line because of it, but there's not a lot of happy folks out there in Rivian land right now.
I think the Wall Street term is douchebaggery.
Yes. If this was really a case of they were out of supplies and out of chips and there's just no other way, just very much like that very first Roadster price hike, like they did all they could and they couldn't avoid it, I would get it. But it just doesn't seem likely that a $20K price hike would be legitimate, especially when they had a diversity discrimination / harassment case that went through, and in her testimony she said that these things can't be sold for what they're selling them for, and then lo and behold, it goes up by exactly the amount she said it needed to do so they could sell it for a profit.
And conveniently after their IPO, even though
Right.
she said this was before their IPO, which that could lead to an investor lawsuit.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not going to act surprised, but I'm
surprised.
Well,
mildly
they
surprised
haven't
that
shipped many units, right?
No,
about
and most of them were
500, I
to
think.
Well, like,
employees.
I mean, you'd think they'd have at least enough for a couple thousand trucks on the shelf to build them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If they didn't, they're really bad at supply chain management.
But I mean, you've got folks who've been in line since 2018. You could do right by them, at least split the
okay.
difference. Be like, hey, this is what happened, but hey, we're gonna do right by you. We're gonna split this with you.
Just to be fair, though, they just started shipping 2.5 months ago.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I know that they've been in line for a long time.
Right.
Fair enough. And I'm not defending companies that say we're going to sell you an item for this price and then go, when it's about time to get it, hey, it's more. That sucks. And that is douchebaggery. But as we have said frequently on this program, we support electric vehicle production. And if that's what it takes to stay in business, it's shitty.
The complaint isn't that they raised the price. The complaint is how they did it for the folks who already gave them a deposit.
Yeah, but the problem is that that's the majority of people, right?
Right.
That's
Exactly.
the vast majority of the profit or the loss they're going to experience are the people that have already signed up and have waited 3 years.
Yeah, there aren't dealer lots full of Rivians, just like there aren't dealer lots full of the other car company.
Right. Yeah.
Any
Well,
car.
maybe there are.
Techno King's cars.
Especially electric
No.
trucks. There's not a glut of those on the roads, that's for sure.
It just feels like a bad, but it feels like something that honestly, if you can afford it, to eat the cost rather than do that to people who already.
Maybe that's what it's telling us. They can't.
Right,
afford
but like
They
their
can't afford it.
email, their email to their customers wasn't, "Hey, we're so sorry it went up. We couldn't. We did everything we could to avoid it. Blah blah blah." It's like, "Oh, hey, we're doing this for you. We made everything better." And it's like, you made it better by bending me over? No, man.
Well, at least take you to dinner first. I mean,
Right.
This is one of those things where you have to balance your customers' happiness versus your stockholders' happiness versus
Right.
Wall Street and the financial press and financial social media's happiness.
Or just
And if
staying
they
in
say-
business. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that, like, other than some of the people who cancel, I don't think that anybody actually would like to see Rivian go out of business. But They definitely should have brought in some outside help if they were just going to just do this. The way this was handled was just the worst. Some of the worst ways they could possibly have handled it. I mean, there's much worse ways, but this is up.
Is there a good way to handle it though?
No.
I wonder if they should have never
So
had
easy way,
pricing.
but there are good ways.
So if you could, be a hand raiser to make a small deposit, and if they didn't have explicit pricing, they were so early, they didn't even have their factory built. I mean, they were a new company. There's no way that could have been inaccurate. It was finger in the air guess.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing evidence that, now we've actually put pencil to paper and we have contracts in place, and now we have a better idea what the price is, and we were wrong.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to handle it, though. I mean,
Yeah.
I probably would have suggested to them that what you could do is say, hey, we had no idea due to unforeseen circumstances. Here's this 20% increase. Here's what we're going to do for you. For those of you who wish to stay on, we're going to make sure that you have priority. Even try to drop that price increase a little bit and make it a
Or with some free
no-fault
extras.
divorce.
Yeah.
If you
Right.
are like, I've waited 3 years, but this is really through the roof and I don't want to pay for it. Make it a no-fault divorce, because the honest to goodness truth is the fact that we cannot, as Paul has pointed out, there's no used cars. There's nobody right now on the market. You're probably going to sell out anyway. Anything that they have ordered, but somebody says, nah, it's just too rich for my blood, walk away, you're going to sell.
Yeah. Yeah. So they will sell these, but the other question that I had is did they do this to Bezos as well? Hey, those vans, they cost 20% more than we contracted.
Oh, I hope so.
Yes.
I mean, let's be clear though. If you're buying a $75,000 car, you can afford an $85,000 car. You may not enjoy it. You may hate it. I'm not saying
if you didn't do a stretch to get it, yeah, that's true.
if you did a stretch to buy a $75,000 car,
be buying a
maybe
car.
you made a bad decision.
This is true.
I guess if it's the difference between a $35,000 car and a $50,000 car, that's something else. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's
I mean,
75 to 89.
most
It's-
financial experts will say you shouldn't buy a car that you can't pay off in 3 years. If you need a 7-year loan or an 8-year loan, it's too much car for your budget.
I would
that's
say
that's
if you can't
after they
pay
get
cash.
them whiplashing you for not paying for cash. Exactly.
Yeah. If you can buy it with cash, then that's the
Yeah.
best.
Wow. Well, Rivian stock's taken a beating. Needless to say, it's who knows where this is going to end up. I believe in their product. I think their
Me too.
vehicle's strong, and I hope they can pull through this.
I'm actually surprised their stock is taking a beating. Usually the stock market, when they hear about price increases or layoffs, it goes up. So
Well,
It's all the
I'm shocked.
cancellations. All the cancellations.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah.
And the stock market makes no sense, right?
Right,
the
that's my
this-
point. Yes.
It is
this also-
completely devoid of any connection to
Yeah.
reality. So
Right. But this also now gives Ford and GM and Ford, Hummer and the Silverado a toehold now.
Right. They give a
Because
fighting.
Well, they're
the
going to do
Lightning's
the
next
same
up.
thing. They're going to say, we got to raise our prices now, too.
That's true. Where are you going to go? Are you going to get a Rivian? We're still cheaper.
Well, yeah. I mean, please, the difference between the Lightning and the Rivian is enormous. You can certainly buy the Lightning at that price level.
Yeah.
But
But not entry
But
level.
Lightning doesn't exist either.
Right.
right. That said,
And then the Hummer was already way up there, so they don't need to increase their price. They got it.
Right.
God, I don't want to think about the Hummer. Okay, well, thank you for that. Speaking of things going EV, Mark has a story about one of my least favorite car companies.
That list is long. Come on, Russell.
You're
They
absolutely
all
right.
meet the bottom.
This
Isn't
one doesn't
that
start with a T.
I hate them all just in varying degrees. How's that?
possible? That's funny.
I'm going to see if I can share a photo here, actually,
No.
of the news story.
No, yes. Show on the
Okay.
Which one is
screen.
it?
There we go.
Jeep, or
I see your cursor.
Stellantis, as the
see a
parent
black
company is
screen.
known as, has decided that they're going to be entering into the EV world. and they debuted just a couple of days ago, actually yesterday, and have shown a couple of artist renditions of the vehicle that they're going to be supplying. This, of course, is the modification of the Jeep, which is, not really a Jeep, it's a SUV, but it's got some great looking lines. No details.
There we go.
Not surprising, because of course Stellantis has got into this EV movement very late compared to others. So they've got a lot of. You talk about Rivian. These guys have got a lot of putting pencil to paper to figure out what's going on before they can be up and selling EVs. Getting battery supply is probably going to be number one on their list. So they also indicated that, yes, a Ram is coming. We got a teaser shot of the Ram. And they had said that the Jeep is coming in 2023, the electric pickup in 2024. And then they had some really interesting future projections. 25 plus electric vehicles by 2030, which I'll have to remind everybody, that's less than 8 years. They're going to have 25 plus electric vehicles in their portfolio.
Well, that's the beauty of the skateboard. They just get 25
Don't
different
know
bodies.
if I believe that exactly. Well, I guess it could be onesie twosies. They're not saying the volumes here, so it is. And then the other thing that they kind of threw in was that they're looking at hydrogen, and I'm going, wow.
What are you, Toyota?
That is.
It's such a Stellantis move.
It's not what I was hoping to hear, because of course we've seen hydrogen fall flat on its face for some time. I'm not sure why they would even look at this or present it. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Maybe they want to toehold in Japan.
I can't
What?
see it.
To
I cannot
sell
see it.
Oversized Stellantis in normal mobiles?
Yeah,
Right.
I just don't
So-
see it.
The other thing I want to point out that you touched on, Mark, is that they don't make their own batteries and they don't have a locked-in supply contract.
Yeah.
And they have just started the recall roulette that you get with the LG packs that Hyundai and Kia did, and then Bolt and Bolt EUV just finished. Now the Chrysler Pacifica, they've been told to park them outside, not near your house.
Really?
Don't plug them in. Right. The only saving grace to this Chrysler Pacifica being told not to plug it in with its shorter range battery is that it's also very much like the Volt, where it can run gasoline. But the last thing you want is your car's catching fire as you're saying about how good you are with EVs.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Certainly in one frame of it, I'm glad that they finally announced they're going to get involved with this in a serious fashion. But as mentioned, with their lateness to the party, with some of these unrealistic plans, and then throwing hydrogen on top of it, it just it's kind of disappointing as an overall plan.
Yeah.
Right. It is a little tone deaf to say hydrogen in the same press release, because it's going to be a huge cultural change for them to go from gasoline to plug-in. And for them to say, oh, and we're going to do hydrogen. No, you can't reinvent yourself twice. You just can't afford it. The R&D, it's
just
not
trying to get
possible.
the buzzwords in front of Wall Street.
Right.
Yeah.
The beauty of hydrogen, though, is that you don't have to change anything on your end as the vehicle manufacturer. The problem is that as a customer, your fuel cost quadruples, and then your station count drops by down to 1% or less.
Well, it depends if you're doing hydrogen combustion or hydrogen fuel cell. Those are radically different technologies, right?
This is true. This is true.
And I don't know
I mean,
which
as
one
far
they
as the
were talking
paradigm.
about.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you're
okay.
doing hydrogen fuel cell, you've already halfway built an EV. If you're doing hydrogen combustion, you've just increased your service center visits, which might be a good thing.
If you're an oil company.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
All right. That part gets into greenwashing real fast.
Yeah, that's what this whole thing smells like.
Yeah, JT.
But I do have to say that producing an SUV that looks like the renderings they provided, that is fully electric and would get a reasonable range, which of course they didn't really outline, but getting something like 250 to 300 miles would be a huge bestseller in North America.
I agree. That was a beautiful car.
But Mopar's been showing us like beautiful, functional EVs for 25 years, and where are they?
Well, I'm just saying that type of car with that type of range is a bestseller.
Absolutely.
And then Ford comes out with an electric Bronco and no one cares. Just one opinion. I may not be right.
Well,
But-
I would have to say that Ford and GM are further along.
The E-Blazer is going to be cool.
If they truly have that skateboard type platform that can be added. GM's got that flexible battery system that they can put multiple different types of cells in the vehicle and just change the
Ultium.
body. They're saying so. The Ultium platform should be a huge winner if they could just plop on different styles of body types that would appeal to the buyers.
Plus, GM patented the skateboards with the high wire and the other hydrogen car. And their trucks are already body on frame.
Although we're not trying to wish any trouble with this, we'd like to see more EVs, more choices.
Yes.
I just think this is, as Paul mentioned, this may be just Wall Street buzzwords.
Healthy skepticism.
This
but
smells like all show no go.
It does. It does. But you can have hope that since body on frame and skateboards and body on frame with a skateboard, those are things they understand. So
I'm actually on a couple of forum groups where people bought the Tesla RAV EV, which
the RAV4
are all breaking now, but
yes.
A lot of these people have actually switched to the Volkswagen ID4, and they're actually quite impressed. It's a similar size SUV form factor and gets 200 plus range, and all these former RAV EV owners are saying, this is a pretty good car. So
yeah, I call that one the electric Camry because it's not particularly quick, but it's it's reliable, it's efficient, it's does what it's supposed to do.
Dealers,
supported by the dealers, yes. I mean, I'm in awe of the ID4. I like it. Not for me, but I like it for everybody else.
Vehicles of all time.
What a horrible
if they
name,
come up
though.
with a Jeep type vehicle in that form factor, yes, people would buy it and it would be popular, but when will it actually exist?
Right. Speaking of poop, let's go to Georgia.
Wow. Wow.
The Segway King.
But it works. This is accurate at this time.
This actually is accurate. So Wells is doing something with doo-doo. They're not quite.
Doo-doo adjacent?
Doo-doo adjacent. It is a poop adjacent technology that you would be very much interested in and probably will be contributing to at some point in the future there, Kacey. It is a highway being paved with recycled diapers. Before you ask, no, it does not stink.
The explicit
That
jokes
was the first question the
write
reporter asked the
themselves.
dude in the video.
Yeah, it's like, one, it does not stink the road itself, except for the usual tar and whatnot. And two, the idea itself does not stink, because what they're doing is they take the disposable diapers, which are not recyclable usually, and usually a sign of some moral failing, or as other people will make you feel like a moral failure for not using cloth diapers, which have their own issues with use of hot water and all that other fun stuff to clean them. So instead,
Hold the baby over the toilet. You'll be fine.
you just put the baby outside in a hut. It can take care of itself, right?
Yeah. They're supposed to.
That's what they're. What you mean? As a species, we can't get up and walk within 15 minutes of being born? What kind of a lame species
I think that's
is
every
this?
other species on the planet.
Except us.
Except us.
We
Right?
can't do nothing. Give us like 10. Give us 18 years, and in some cases, 50 years, and you still can't do nothing.
Failure to launch.
But before we get off, because it's just too funny, these diapers are rinsed, they're shredded, they're mixed with asphalt, and then they're slathered all over, well, in this case, 1.5 mile stretch of highway. But it smells just like road, which is still not great. But what are you gonna do? Honestly, it's a 140 million disposable diapers tossed into the bin in Wales. In Britain as the whole, that's 3 billion. In the United States, 50 million diapers are stuffed in a day for 18 billion a year.
Mm.
And most of those end up in landfills, including the biodegradable ones. And I got to tell you something. Um, Composting anything requires that it be turned regularly and have access to heat and air. And that means that anything compostable that's not properly put in to break down is going to be sitting there for at least 20, 30 years, still able to be recognizable at the end of the day, is what it is. So the fact that we can take this and turn it into something we're going to use and have to redo on a regular basis because we do travel on roads, this could be fantastic. And what's great is that, as I said before, that the impact of cloth nappies is based on how they laundered the heat, the hot water, and all that kind of stuff. But being able to do this can make disposables be an actually ecological choice. I don't think we're going to have it be a circle because don't think you can take that and put that back into a disposable diaper again. But it's a great way to get rid of disposable diapers, and I, of course, am for it.
One question: when it rains, does the road turn blue?
No, not that I can think of. Oh, what's super cool is that this is not the only plastic garbage road, by the way. India has tested with shredded plastic waste with glue, and the Indian government has required since 2015 road construction to incorporate plastic waste. The Netherlands opened up a bicycle path with recycled plastic, and discarded plastic bottles and other packaging has repaved some of California's highways. But this is the first one that really puts the money where the poop is. So I'm sorry, you guys, but you got to face it. Diapers are funny, and so is poop. It's classic humor. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
So you mentioned the landfills. They bring the heat, but like you said, they're devoid of air, so that doesn't do the job. So this is a good alternative.
It's, if you've ever gotten the chance to visit your local community composting site, and I have filming for compost training. It is literally like somebody takes about 2 or 3 square miles and has piles of compost piles and of garbage that is meant to be composted, and it is 2 to 3 man heights high and approximately almost a half a football field per square, and something massive comes through and turns it and moves it around. And that's a hell of a job. Not many people do large scale composting, but my community does. And of course, the joy of my life was going out there with a camera to stand right next to fresh, ripe garbage being composted for a few hours to film the wonders of our public policy. I support it. I also support this. It's all good.
So they pointed out that that they expect these roads to last 20 years, which that's pretty good.
It's longer than asphalt roads last.
Exactly.
Pretty much true.
They were saying that those are what, 8 years at the most, in perfect conditions.
Depending on where they are, sure.
Yeah. We had road work done right outside my apartment for a very noisy summer, and I swear to God, by the next year, it was pitted and cracked and looked just as bad as when it started. And I was like, seriously, Phyllis would bring me the nappy road. Put the nappy road right here. I'll take 20 years because this is not good.
Exactly.
There you go. Well, Georgia, thank you for that. It's not often I get to talk about poop. I appreciate
Yes, you do.
that.
I've seen you talking a lot of crap.
Indulge my scatological tendencies. I do appreciate that. And that should start some Twitter speculation. I look forward to it.
You mean other than when you say bullshit?
Yeah, exactly. exactly correct. Well, we need some good news. Not that's actually good news. Making roads out of poopy diapers is great news. Let's go to Paul Guzik for some more good news.
So my story is about California hitting the 1 million plug-in vehicle mark. And what was more impressive to me is California has 10 times as many plug-in vehicles has as much as the next 10 states behind it.
Wow.
We all know California is a big car state, and a lot of people there, but the next 10 states after don't equal as much as California. And as Russell was saying, there's a Tesla on every corner in California. and I don't know, I didn't look up what the actual number of total cars registered in California, but it's got to be 40 or 60 million.
I would think, yeah.
So, but 1 million is still a decent amount percentage-wise for where we are in the evolution of EVs. So, go California.
Yeah.
I drive a lot because that's what I do for work. That's the day job. And I was complaining before the show. In fact, let's not even call it complaining. I was whining about how many Teslas I see, which whatever, no big deal. Other than the FSD idiots, seeing Teslas doesn't bother me. It's dude, if I drive by you and your hands are in your lap and your car is moving,
if your hands are in your lap and the car tries to jump off a bridge, you're dead.
Today, I saw a dude reading a freaking ass magazine.
What is that? What it's called? Freaking ass?
Yeah, it was freaking ass magazine. While not driving his Tesla.
His
Okay,
hands weren't on the wheel, and he was reading Freaky Ass magazine.
his hands were somewhere that I didn't want to explore.
Yeah.
Hey,
I just this week I saw the new Ioniq 5.
Those are pretty.
I've seen a bunch of ID4s
Right.
already too.
Mach-E's?
All over the place, constantly. Yeah.
Leafs?
I'm sorry, Leafs?
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah. I mean, there's still. It's California. I mean, everyone who doesn't have a new EV is driving a Prius or a Maserati. Except for me. Well, no, I have an old Prius, so yeah, that counts. Anyway, there's tons of those cars out there, and it's nice to see them on the road. So that was all.
Yeah.
I don't have anything more. Yay, us. Yay, more EVs. Remember, it wasn't that long ago that we were like, oh, wouldn't it be great when? And, time has gotten us to the point where we're seeing changes in these patterns on our roads. And I apologize if where you live, you're not seeing it. It sucks. I see it every day, and it's cool.
It's the future.
The future is out.
They've stopped waving at each other around my area. This yesterday.
Oh, dude.
A Model 3 came up, zooming up next to me, and then matched my speed. So I waved, and then like the girl in the seat next to the driver was like, "What?" I'm like, "Well, why would you match my speed when there's no reason to just like park next to me?" So I waved. I figured that's what they wanted to do. Apparently, I scared her.
Yeah, I mean, I remember back, when Prius owners would be like, "Oh wow,
Yeah,
that was a long
time ago."
Yeah, like that stopped in 2007, I think.
Yeah.
Let's go to our next story, and it's Patrick. And I have to look. Yes.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
Did you say Patrick or Ali G?
That was brutal and funny at the same time.
All right, I'll go on with my story now. So,
I'm just saving that all night.
enjoy. Yeah. So, this story comes to us from Hindu.com, and it's titled "Globally, 6.5 million EVs were sold in 2021," and it sounds like at least some of those went to California. So
A few.
just to shorten this up, I have the what, where, and who sections of the article. So what? Global EV sales, including plug-in hybrids, surged 109% last year compared with 2020. This is according to research firm Canalys. So where nearly half of these EVs were sold in China. Europe had 19% of all the plug-in vehicles sold. Only 4% were in the US. But as we talked about earlier, we don't exactly have electric trucks yet, and about half the vehicles sold in the US seem to be trucks. So that will certainly help out to getting into double digits for the US. And then the last one on the list is the who. So the EV sales leaders included Tesla, Volkswagen, SAIC, BYD, Stellantis, BMW, and Hyundai. There
SAIC,
you
that's
go.
in China?
That's in China, and that's General Motors' partner in China.
Okay, because they are also a beltway bandit in this area. They do government contracts.
Oh, I don't know. Is
Science
it the same company?
applications?
hmm
Yeah. Definitely not them. Well, again, good news for those of us that want to see cleaner transportation solutions. I think the only, no, you know what? I'm not going to be a downer today.
Don't
That's
be
it.
downer.
That's wonderful
Don't
news,
be a Debbie
Patrick.
Downer.
Yeah, when we got to 1% in the US, I made a big deal on this show about how we finally have an entire percent. Now we have
Yeah.
4 times that amount. And then in Europe, with it being at 19%, now we've crossed the chasm. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that adoption term, but you can get about 10% of a market to understand something, but that's never going to get it into the early adopter phase. That's just going to stay with the tech leader types. And so, but once you get to 20%, now it's getting into early majority, and that's going to persuade a lot more people to start using that because a lot of their friends and neighbors are using it. They know they can get the support. They have the system there to if they have questions, they know somebody that can answer them for them. And it's not just some niche special thing where you have to be uber into it to understand it. So that's great. And all of these help us get to economies of scale. And that's going to make the vehicles more affordable for everybody, which it'll be self-reinforcing and a really great thing.
Well, and as Bruce says in the chat, higher gas prices coming, that also will get people to look at EVs for the next car.
Absolutely. Yep,
Yeah.
we have to electrify all the things.
Electrify all the things. So to Bruce's point, I've seen a couple people actually considering and actually jumping and making the switch to an EV. Mark has a relative that just kicked gas.
Yep.
And then I've also seen a couple of this obstinate, people digging their heels in even further. There was a gentleman with a pickup truck. He claims can do 1,600 miles on a tank. And now he doesn't think an EV can do that for him. And then I explained to him that with no traffic, you're looking at over 20 hours on the road at 60 miles an hour. And I kind of like to be able to go to the bathroom and eat and sleep. So I don't need 1,600 miles. And
Nobody does.
No.
Right. There was no rebuttal to that. And not only that, it's illegal if you're a CDL. It's as a pro driver, it's illegal. And so there was no rebuttal to that. But
And Bruce brings up another interesting point, which is as gas goes up, the incentive for hybrids and more fuel-efficient electric vehicles increases, but we're also in the danger of that backlash of all the truck owners who've been celebrating cheap gas for so many years now. All of a sudden, they're like, "Oh my God!"
But that means they fell for it again. This happens
Yeah.
every time. We run it up, we drop it down so they can get the trucks, and then we run it up again. So if they didn't see this coming, I mean, how old are they? Are they younger than 15 years old? That's the only way that this makes any sense.
I'm not going to be sympathetic, Kacey, but I am going to say for years on this show, we said gas only goes up. And
I got my Prius
and it
and
did
the
for
price went
years
down.
and years and years. And then we saw a lot of price manipulation. And we've seen that oil price be artificially depressed now for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sympathetic, but I do understand why short-sighted people who aren't focused on this topic go, gas is cheap. It's only $2.25 where I am. My wife is in Florida this week. Gas is $4.70 a gallon there.
In Florida?
in
Ooh.
Florida.
And now you're almost paying the true price.
Right.
No.
It's
Half of the
$4.73
true
here.
price.
Right. Yeah. Compared to $2 a gallon. Yeah.
Okay,
there's so
I'll
many,
give you that.
Yeah. There's so many externalities that just are not accounted for in that
Nope.
really need to be.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to our final story and about hopefully leaving it in the ground. Georgia.
Yeah.
So we're continuing actually with our thread of good news. In fact, great news.
Yeah.
The Biden administration will not be appealing the judge's ruling that revokes a whole bunch of Gulf of Mexico drilling leases. That's 1.7 million acres of drilling leases. Now, the judge's ruling basically was, hey, these leases were given out without considering climate change, and no. Now, the Biden administration, I saw a lot of people going, Biden has betrayed us. He's gone back on his environmental promises to hand out these leases. That's not so. The thing is that's what's done by another administration is not stopped just because a new administration comes in. The Trump administration is the one who set out these leases, and while the Biden administration suspended new oil and gas drilling on lands and waters owned by the federal government, but another judge struck down that moratorium, and then they were forced to go through with a lease sale that the Trump administration actually had completed. That's how it rolls. You are not going to save democracy by demanding that the people you brought in to save democracy suddenly throw it out the window when it's convenient, because that does not save democracy. That's very flexible and convenient, and that's the problem. So the administration would have to decide whether or not to hold a new auction. But the federal judge ruling invalidates the results of the sale because they feel that the Interior needs to, the Department of the Interior, so we're clear, needs to redo the environmental analysis so that it fully accounts for greenhouse gas emissions associated with future oil and gas drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. And then the administration must decide whether or not to hold a new auction. However, the administration, they ran out the clock on that. There's a 5-year offshore drilling plan that expires at the end of June. And woo, here's to government slowness. It's unlikely they're going to be able to do anything about it. So they ran out the clock.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're not going to come up and say, "Yo, we just totally said, yeah, screw that, we're not doing it." But
Oh, they can't do that.
yeah, they can't come out and admit that, because then they could be sued by the people who wanted those leases in the first place.
Yeah.
That's just how it rolls. But
Oh, they already are being sued. That's already started.
well, yeah, they're being sued to
I don't want to
actually.
give
They're
them
fighting the
win.
ruling. They're fighting
Yeah.
the ruling. This current ruling. But
Yeah.
if they actually said, "Hey, we slow walked it so that even if we did the analysis and everything else, we'd be out of time with the offshore drilling plan," then they could be sued for that. So that would be another lawsuit. But there was no reason within the administration that they saw to rush it, basically. So according to the administration, and I quote, "To be sure, the Interior may decide to hold lease sales, active or in May, in the Gulf of Mexico that put up for sale the same blocks offered in the November 17, 2021 sale. But that possibility is pre-decisional and speculative at this time, as there will not be a new leasing program in place after June 30th until the Interior adopts a new 5-year program." That's the way how government works, man. Some people, we've been thankful about the increases in EV sales, and I think that's great, because there's a little thing going on right now in the world, a little unhappiness, a little fracas. Somebody's big feet are encroaching on someone else's foot space, a la when you're flying in regular plebeian air and some doofus behind you keeps putting their feet forward so they're under your chair and you can't put your feet under your chair. We got a little bit of that happening, and it is affecting gas prices. Some people have said that we should have kept the Keystone XL, or that not selling these leases and getting drilling ramped up would affect us. Well, for one thing, the Keystone, even if it was functional, would only
It blows the wrong way.
it's like 2% of possible gas, and we can just get that from Canada, who's an actual friendly nation. And this would not be improving our gas situation. We have oil and gas reserves, and I would like to remind people we still have the technology to drill deeply in the Gulf of Mexico. We still don't have the technology to fix that if we make a little boo-boo a la Deepwater Horizon. So maybe we should stop freaking doing that until we learn how to undo the messes we make. So just letting people know at the talking points I've seen already about what's happening with oil and gas prices. A lot of this instability just means that people raise the prices on crude just for funsies because, hey, the world's unstable. Might as well raise price.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. So
Don't let a good crisis go to waste.
absolutely,
You can make a profit.
I've never seen an executive who ever said, you know what, maybe I don't need a new Maserati this year. Let's just hold steady and we'll dip into our reserves and keep things flat. God forbid a little bit of common sense and a little bit of humanity ever take hold in a CEO's heart. But hey, is what it is until the revolution. But so this is good. I appreciate the fact that wink, I can't really. I'm a bad winker. Wink, wink. That they just don't have enough time to actually have more leases up for sale in June. Ooh,
Darn it.
too bad. Darn, that 5-year plan is just going to expire, and all those leases that were sold by the Trump administration and that the Biden administration were forced to do by a judge in Louisiana, because honestly, it's a little bit like that whole you got to pay your debts thing, the full faith and credit of the United States government. That's in a balance when you say we won't do what we said we would do. I'm pretty happy that this one is just going to walk off. Bye. Now, the big issue is if you don't want these leases to come back, and if you like to maybe not have yet another Deepwater on your hands, hey, guess what? There's elections coming up this year. Please make sure you're registered, because I've seen a lot of people who have said, I'm a registered voter. I have voted regularly, and I walked into my polling place to vote in the primary. Hey, Texas, I'm looking at you. And suddenly I'm not registered. And that doesn't happen. So
check that before the deadline to re-register, just in case they try and screw
Just in
you
case.
over. They've been screwing over people all over the country.
all over the country, and double and triple check any country. If you are in, I'm sorry to say this, I feel kind of bad to say this because to me it can't be everybody, right? But if you are in a red county, a red city, a red state, if your county clerk is GOP, you might want to keep a steady eye on your registration. Make sure that, unlike places in Florida where your party affiliation mysteriously switches, keep an eye on that. So let's be vigilant, because we can't fix the things that we get into. We are not that smart. Those of you who follow me on Twitter have known that I have said we are 10 smart people as a species and 10 billion raw hamburgers walking around, just human burger patties walking around using tech that the 10 smart people come up with. We are not smart enough to unfuck the things we fuck up. And that is the truth where it comes to deep drilling. And a good portion of these leases are not even worth drilling in because they're so hard to access oil. But we will do it anyway because we're not that smart. So there you go.
There was a article I was listening to that was going over money from the transportation bill that passed, that is going to. They were only looking at the well capping in Pennsylvania from all of time that we've been extracting oil from the ground, and they went in, yeah, they went into, because that's where we started, in Pennsylvania of all places. And they went into how many of them were uncapped, how many of them are just wide open, how many of them should have been resolved, but the company went bankrupt, and the amount of money that went aside to recap these wells won't even make a dent. But
Nope.
it is money to do the right thing, so they are capping some of these wells that have been abandoned or no longer produced correctly. But we're doing this, let's get some more before we finish with the ones we got.
Let's be clear. The resource extraction industry, whatever resource is being extracted, and there's many, almost never does anything substantial to address the mess it leaves behind. The companies or shell companies, they go out of business, they go bankrupt, they disappear. There's no, the fund's empty, blah, blah, blah. At best, maybe the government comes in and tries to clean it up, but
yeah,
I mean,
I'm gonna give a shout out to the people of Appalachia who have dealt with runoffs from mining for decades. I feel for them. They may not like me. We may not have the same politics, but I feel for them. I feel for the things they've gone through. And a shout out to the activists who have pointed this out, who have risked life and limb, and in some cases, definitely lost their lives, exposing the way how toxic runoff from mining has poisoned their communities. We can extract a lot of stuff. We will throw billions to extract, and then we'll toss 5 cents towards the cleanup. And Russell is absolutely right. There is a Superfund site in my town, my little town, and I have watched that Superfund site be scheduled for cleanup. In the past 15 years, I've never seen anybody clean it up. It's still a Superfund site. And the fact that it is a government Superfund site to clean up some technology spills and messes from a private company, that should put a fire under your butt. That one of the things we definitely need to rewrite when we do natural resource leasing is include a clause that they are responsible for the cleanup 100%. Because if you can afford to pay your CEOs extravagant sums, then you can afford to clean this up. Because the problem isn't that the technology is there to extract it. It's that the problem is the technology to extract is not developed alongside the technology to clean up. And
they should have to have a cleanup fund before they even break ground, and then that should be matched with executive pay, dollar for dollar into this cleanup fund.
Maybe like an escrow or something. That way they can't get out of it when they go bankrupt.
They can declare bankruptcy.
I'm going to say it's not just the funding; it is a plan. Deepwater Horizon. I wrote a basic law after researching the Deepwater Horizon case, because the true fact of the matter is they had a plan for drilling. There was absolutely no plan for a blowout that happened. Not one single one. And it's like, how can you submit a plan for the drilling, but not a plan to deal with emergencies? That is a huge gaping flaw in our leasing laws.
Because all that matters is you get the resource out. Georgia, thank you for that.
Screw you.
Yeah. We'll take all the good news this show can deliver, and I appreciate all of you that brought happy stories tonight in a week when there's a lot of not happy stories. Let's do some shout outs. I'm sorry, Georgia.
I'm still cracking up with the fact that we've called the show Poop Highway.
Well, I'm not sure about that yet. I just wanted to write that down. So, by the way, panelists, if you have any suggestions, throw them in the chat. I don't think Poop Highway is necessarily the best thing, but
the road where the sun don't shine.
The brown road. May the brown road rise with you.
Let's do some shout outs and go home. I'm going to start with Paul Guzik.
Thanks to everybody who tuned us in. And as always, like and subscribe us. And if you're in Colorado, need your EV or hybrid car service maintained, check us out. And maybe one day if you want to buy a car, check us out. But we have nothing really for sale right now. Sorry to say.
Wait, you mean? Wait. I got all this money? I have this big thing of money and I can't buy a car?
Russell, he doesn't
can,
take
but you're
Monopoly
gonna pay
money.
a stupid premium to buy a car right now.
Oh. Yeah, it is crazy. It is crazy.
You buy a
Well,
Rivian, all that money.
There you go. You can buy a Rivian, and it's only 20% more than it was last week, so no big deal. Because I know
But
all of
maybe you
you
flip it.
who watch and listen to this show are very well off because you're viewers and or listeners. That
Okay.
was really crappy pandering, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It's okay.
I,
then.
We have the
I felt bad
smartest
about
viewers.
that. Yeah, I felt bad about that before I got it all the way out. Casey Green, what's up in your world?
I'm working on shows over at youtube.com/Kacey Green. That's KACEYGREEN. Just editing stuff down because nobody wants to watch 5 hours of a video that can be done in 30 minutes or less.
There you go. Well, do follow Casey on YouTube and check out the latest, because that's where the latest Tesla news is, except for the Tesla Life. Mark Coughlin.
I wanted to ask, if you're still viewing us right now, please give us a thumbs up at this point. Press that subscribe button. It helps us out. And if you want to follow us on social media, we're everywhere. Just look up What Drives Us. It's easy to do. And Russell's got that TikTok app going just wonderfully now.
I do not have TikTok, for the
Well,
record.
then explain the $2 bill, sir.
And
They're all sweaty.
I don't get that joke.
Maybe it's from your OnlyFans.
Am I that? Oh, that's all in my Venmo, dude. Come on. Thank you very much. And of course, for the best show about Tesla, do watch the Tesla Life, follow them on YouTube, and get the notifications so that you can see Mark, Casey, and Patrick regularly with the good Tesla news. Patrick.
Hello. So as it says up there, I'm at carswithcords.net. You can check me out there. I've got something up about 1 year with a Powerwall, and coming up soon, what's in your frunk? And as,
What's in your front? You mean, what, did you like put some meat in there a year ago and you want to see what it's like now? Or?
Experiments from the front.
Patrick is composting in his front.
I like to
Fermenting
keep a can of
moonshine.
I like to keep a can of V8, and then I go and I lift the hood and say, I've got a V8 in here, and I open it and go, here you go, you want a drink?
My apologies to everyone who heard that.
Oh, and as always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. Thanks, Russell.
Thank you. Patrick is the person who does all of our news on social media. So thank you for that, Patrick. And if you follow us, you've probably seen some stories that Patrick puts up. I think he's baiting me less these days, or
Yeah, you
maybe
stopped
I'm
taking
just
the
more
bait.
resistant to it. I'm not sure. Maybe both.
A
It's
little
hard
bit
to
both.
say. Georgia, your turn.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Russell.
Thank
So,
you.
actually, shout out to all of you who've hung out with us for this past hour. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hitting like and subscribe. Remember that your likes actually help boost the show. So don't forget to do that for each and every show. I know you've liked us once. Why not? Hey, we need you consistently. That's why. And while you're at it, don't forget to bounce on over to the Tesla Live, because Mark's covering all things Tesla, all the news, all the insider stuff. He reads stock reports, so you don't have to. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. And while we're at it, Kacey, well, we all know Kacey's project is to train the AI and basically cause the destruction of all humanity. So go on over there and show some support for that. Really, he's doing everybody a service.
Get on its good side with me.
That's right. And remember to say please and thank you to all your AI objects, like I do. I will win. So don't forget, hit like and subscribe for both of them. You can watch them on YouTube. You can listen to everything that we do. And while you're at it, bounce on over to carswithcords.net, because Patrick is out there writing some great stuff for you to read. Good, thoughtful things about sustainability and about his massive house that will be our resource to hide out away from all the AI, because he's got power and we don't want to give up our internet. Wait. So So while we're at it, thank you for listening and stay chill. This is going to be one hell of a weird year, I can tell it. It's already started off.
As if the last two have been normal.
Yeah.
God, Paul. I mean, I'm thinking that maybe, when the fever breaks, you get a little bit hotter and a little bit worse to get through that last hump. This might be the fever breaking part of
Nothing like a war to end COVID.
I
Yeah.
mean, really.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So hang tight, and if Paul actually had cars, I'd tell you to go buy a few from him. But we're out of cars over there at Boulder Hybrids. So just take your stuff over there and maintain your cars, especially if you've got EVs, because you are going to be doing a hell of a lot better than people with gas guzzlers. And for that, you should feel smug and very self-righteous. I give you permission. Back to you, Russell.
I like that. Permission to be smug and self-righteous. Yeah, that's good.
We so rarely get that.
I want to say hey to Jason Holder. So nice to see you, man. And again, for those of you that didn't know, Jason used to be a panelist on the show a long time ago, and it would be great to have him back on once in a while just to come in and, I don't know, blow my mind, I guess. I want to thank Michael Manring, as always, for his amazing theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. Buy a song, buy an album, buy something, for God's sakes. I also want to thank Patrick Connor, Georgia McKenzie, Paul Guzik, Mark Coughlin, and Kacey Green for filling out an amazing panel and going over all the news. That was wonderful. Thank you. And good news, good news. So next week, downer after downer, right?
No.
It'll just be like, no. Good for you
Fine.
guys.
Always good things.
Stay resolute in your optimism. I need that support. And of course, thank all of you who watch in or listen every week. You're the reason we do this show. Thank you so much. You can, of course, follow us on YouTube or on social media. We're what drives us all over the place. And if you're not, well, then, you're missing out. That's all I can say. Ready, Kacey? Until next week, when you can download us and find out what drives us. Well done.